What's going on, guys? RobRabonPhotog here, and here's a review of my RX100 Mark V. This is my first video kind of review type thingy, so enjoy it if you want. If not, then cool. There's some cool slow motion stuff coming up, so stay for that. Anyway, this is the RX100. This is Mark V. All the other versions are pretty cool, but this is kind of like the creme de la creme. This has, I think it's 24 point something megapixels, but I really bought it just because it's so compact, so small, and just so useful. It has a bunch of different frame rates available. It is kind of a smaller sensor. I guess it's a 1-inch sensor, so it's not like your CMOS sensors that you would get in an SLR or a nice mirrorless, but for the size and what you can do with this camera, it was just worth it. I bought it right before the road trip just because I knew it was going to be so useful. It has a nice flip-up screen, so if you ever want to be a vlogger, you can go ahead and do that. And that's why this camera is kind of used for vloggers almost exclusively at this point. I guess Hoonigan has a bunch of them. There's some other vloggers on YouTube that use them. I really don't follow a lot of vloggers, so I can't name any of them. It's roughly the size of a Nintendo controller, like the old school one. It's a little bit, I guess, taller, but it's not as wide. It's also a little bit thicker, but it's all I had laying around for a size comparison at the time. This camera is pretty expensive, but I bought it on burnouts.com. They had a used section, and they had one of these for a pretty decent price, so I just went ahead and jumped on it. I knew it was going to come in handy on the road trip. It's pretty much a do-it-all camera. It's not the best sensor, so you're not going to have the highest quality files, but it has one of the best image stabilization systems I've ever used in a camera. You get full manual controls, you can shoot RAW, you can shoot 120 frames per second at 1080, you can shoot 4K on it. It has a nice little pop-up viewfinder if it's really bright. It also has a pop-up flash that you can use as a bounce flash also if you want. I don't really use flashes that much, but it's nice that it's there. So in the rest of the video, I'm just going to concentrate on the HFR mode and shooting at 480 frames per second and 960 frames per second. And also shooting at 120 at 1080, just so you can get a good idea what you can use this camera for when it comes to automotive videography.
One really cool feature about this camera is that it has a really good macro mode. A lot of cameras aren't going to focus as close as this camera will, which comes in handy in a lot of different situations. I shoot with an A7S mostly. An A5100 is my backup camera, or that's the way it was set up, but now the RX100 is actually becoming my main camera. So I don't even have a lens that can focus this close right now. I don't have any macros for the Sony system. So tiny, but I can get so close. And I made an appointment with Safelite again. Hopefully they can replace this freaking windshield. So since I'm getting it replaced, I decided maybe I should have some fun and try to use my ultra high frame rate that's on the RX100, which I'm filming with right now. So let's see some stuff.
trying to think of some things to do for a review on this camera. and I thought maybe it'd be cool to show the 120 frames per second frame rate and then slow that down. I wanted to do that high frame rate thing, but I don't have anybody here to help me do it. And when you do the high frame rate, you have to have somebody press record within a couple seconds of actually like doing what you're doing. You can either set it to where record makes it happen or record records what just happened. But either way, I don't have anybody to help me today, so let's do that 120 frames per second thing. So once you film 120 frames per second, you can then slow that down 4 times, which will be like 30 frames per second, which is your normal frame rate. Well, my normal frame rate. So let's see how that looks. Cut to the footage. Cranked it up pretty good. It's a neat science experiment. No, never really busted a windshield before. It's pretty strong. Hopefully Safelite actually replaces it this time. If they don't, I'm... Windshield's a little bit cracked up now. Ah, shit. Wanted to do that. For science. God damn. X pipe's a little low. No permanent damage here, so it's fine. You know, it's just temporary marks, nothing permanent. I like to keep my garage nice and safe and sound. Here's what the turbo normally looks like at 30 frames per second. Good looking motor. Really good looking motor right there. So because I was really just using this video as an excuse on doing burnouts and breaking glass and busting the windshield in the Fox, I didn't really talk about some of the other features that this camera has as far as like actual photography. It has a really fast burst rate, and the autofocus is super fast on this camera too. The burst rate is at 24 frames per second, so you can shoot off 24 shots in 1 second. I'm not sure what the buffer rate is on this, but you can basically make a video if you want it, just like using JPEGs, but just listen to it. That's so many pictures. It's ridiculous. Now I gotta delete all these because it's just a picture of my wall. It's not the best at like everything, and it's not going to give you as nice of a video file as the A7S or even the A5100. And the built-in mic's not the best either, and it sucks that it doesn't have an input jack. But if you're looking for one camera to do a lot of different things really well that you can take pretty much anywhere, I'd really recommend this camera, especially if you're in the automotive stuff. So that's it. In closing, this is an awesome one. This is a really awesome camera. It's definitely one of my favorites, especially right now. It's not taking over the A7S anytime soon, but this is definitely one of my favorite toys, especially in the winter time when I can keep this in my hoodie. Be sure to like and subscribe and all that typical YouTube stuff, and leave a comment if you like this camera or if you don't like this camera, or don't leave a comment or dislike it if you want. I really don't
I don't care. It's a free country. You can do what you want. But thanks for watching, and I hope you have an awesome day.